Well, today, the class is a bit different and similar with our usual classes. Originally, this Dorje Drolo Practice needs in order to receive and practice it, you have to receive an empowerment. But after very long consideration, I think it's not too convenient to give the full empowerment because there are too many people attending this. Therefore, I'm going to give a simple teaching on the explanation of the sadhana. And this method may be a bit different than how I used to teach, but if I lost the opportunity of spreading this teaching and giving this teaching, I would feel quite regretful of losing such opportunity. And sometimes it's very difficult to find just the right spot, the sweet spot of the right number of people. Not too many people, not too less people. And it's very difficult to find the sweet spot of the right number of people. And similarly to the teaching, it's hard to give the most extensive and too concise of such teachings, or too simplified version of such teachings. So I'm giving this teaching in a rather public way and give this terma that's reviewed by Jigme Phongso Rinpoche at Taksang. This is a wrathful Palmasambhava practice, Dorje Drolo practice, in fact. Some teachers, maybe they'll just give out this teaching really easily without empowerments, and they would talk about pointing out, and they would talk about the natural purity of the mind, and without require any preliminary practices or the empowerment. Of course, things like that do happen, but over here, the Ati practices. In order to receive Ati practices and sadhana, you have to receive the empowerment first. And you have to finish at least 50% of your preliminary practices so that you can receive such teaching. I think many people do know me, and you know that during my teaching on the Vajrayana teachings, I don't really give teachings to people who haven't finished the preliminary practices, or at least who haven't even started their preliminary practices. So I haven't really found someone who is ready to receive the teaching without preliminary practice, just like Mipa Rinpoche and Jigme Gyalwe Ninggu, who has such sharp faculties to receive the higher teachings without preliminary practices. But again, let's look at all those great masters. Not only they practiced and finished their preliminary practices, they've finished many times of those. I think we have really short life, short time in our life, and life is quite impermanent. And upon contemplating on those, I decided I think it's quite important to seize the opportunity and propagate the teachings that I received from Jigme Phuntsok Rinpoche. So I did make great aspiration to teach this Dharma, and I consider myself having pure aspiration rather than having any other agendas behind giving such teachings. I think in the West, some gurus or some teachers who teach over there, I think they're really great. They teach in such kind of society, and they really understand that mentality, the mentality of the people living in those society. And there are teachers who teach in those in the Western society, and they don't really follow the step by step. They actually give the teachings all the way from the very high teachings to the lower teachings. They start with really high-arty teachings and then slowly get into the ethics and the very grounded teachings. So in order to give the Vajrayana teachings, especially the teachings on the primordial purity, I think it's still the best to keep it really strict and have lots of requirements beforehand. And this way would be very helpful to yourself and would contribute to the success of your own practice. Even if you can't succeed in this lifetime, you can succeed in next lifetime. Just as in one of the 7 treasures of Longchenpa, he said, no matter if it's a man, a woman, or a child, upon meeting and encountering the profound Vajrayana teaching, especially the pith instructions, even if you don't even practice it, just upon hearing it, you will definitely attain liberation. What's the reason behind that? It is because you've already encountered the profound teaching of the pith instruction categories. Of course, there are many other different reasons, but this is the reason I would like to cite today. So upon encountering the supreme Vajrayana teaching, maybe because of the destructions of your house, because of your health, because of short lifespan due to cancer or so, you don't really have much time to deal or to engage in Dharma practice. And the army of death is greeting you before you're ready for it. But even if that happens, if you listened to Vajrayana teachings before, just by the merit of listening to the supreme Vajrayana teaching, you will definitely be liberated. There are people who slander the Vajrayana teaching, and this is just very normal. Lots of the profound teachings within the Chan tradition, within Pure Land tradition, many people couldn't believe, couldn't have faith towards them, and that's very normal. Even at the beginning of how Vajrayana started to propagate in Tibet, there are many people slandering the Vajrayana teaching as well. Some people will slander it no matter what, but because of their slandering and debating, the truth will also come out and become clearer. And at that time, you will see the truth of it. It is not through debating and through their words of slandering the Vajrayana teaching. The Vajrayana teaching will be tinted by it. That won't happen. So at the beginning, this is what I would like to address. At the beginning, I thought to give the empowerment of empowerment that dispel obstacles from Padmasambhava and or another empowerment. But I think maybe today I'll give the teaching in a rather open and simple explanation, and I will give you the transmission. So for people who have faith, you will receive the city, you receive the blessings from the sadhana. But for those who don't, there are ways to conceal such secrets within Vajrayana teachings. So the class today is a bit different than the class that we usually have during our Sutrayana classes. And also I made some special requirements for people who want to attend this class and who are attending this class, including people who are listening to this class as of now through internet. So people who have not received a refuge vow, who have never taken refuge and made aspiration, then at the beginning I think it's important to chant the 7-line prayer to Pamasambhava to mature your own mind stream so that you are ready to receive the Dorje Drolo sadhana. Because in the 21st century, I think this is such a special time. It is important to make some changes or some reform in terms of the method of giving the teaching. Of course, the content of the teaching itself doesn't need any change or reform. It's just the method that needs some kind of reform to fit into the age. So at first, I will give you the refuge vow. I think many people already took refuge, and maybe a lot of them have took the refuge vow for many, many years, but their mind stream have not really changed, or maybe you should really observe your own mind and question to yourself as well, because the true refuge is, even if you encounter life-threatening situation, you would never give up or betray the 3 jewels. And that's the genuine refuge vow. And refuge vow is really the basis, the foundation of all vows, of all merits. So refuge vow is the most important. Therefore, I'm giving the refuge vow first. And even for people who are willing to renew your refuge vow. And in fact, for people who take refuge vow, your vow of taking a refuge will not retrogress for lifetimes. Some people may give up the Buddha, give up on the Sangha, or give up on the Dharma, and give up on the deity, the Guru, or the protector, or the Dakini. I really hope that doesn't happen to you. So today I would like to give the refuge vow that's written by Mipa Rinpoche, where it says that I am taking the vow in front of in the assembly of gurus, idams, and dakinis that fill the furthest reach of space in front of the Buddha, the Dharma.
Namkanis Namka Kanwaye Lamayadam Kandru Tsonamla Sanje Chudam Pogbo Gendanla Dodan Rujuki Berjasum Chu Namkanis Namka Kanwaye Lamayadam Kandru Tsonamdan Sanje Chudam Pogbo Gendanla
And then now let's make aspiration for the Mahayana Bodhicitta. And the verses that we are going to chant is The meaning is that the nature of me and all sentient beings are already enlightened. We had never really recognized such nature, but now I recognize such nature, and through this I make aspiration of great bodhicitta. So through this, repeat after me for 3 times.
Shanchim chokdo semkyeto Dagdon tayi semchernam Yini sanje yambala Yambar shibi dagnyeto Shanchim chokdo semkyeto Dagdon tayi semchernam Yini sanje yambala Yambar shibi dagnyeto Shanchim chokdo semkyeto Dina zhongzan bama gezra dombola Yamsam chokho ngedroni bamam zhongme jisi Kurdum kandro mambo kura kiki jisi dachoji Shinji lapche shasaza Kura bama zirda Dina zhongzan bama gezra dombola Yamsam chokho ngedroni bamam zhongme jisi Kurdum kandro mambo kura kiki jisi dachoji Shinji lapche shasaza Guru Bama Zurda Jena Jonza Bama Gizra Dombola Yamzum Choko Ngidroni Bama Jone Jizur Kurdum Kandro Mambo Guru Jiji Jizu Daroji Shinji Lapja Jazus Guru Bama Zurda Domungumbo Ranjon Hanjaba Nyola Yerme Jibu Gozrit Tranangora Mamba Maliba Nyam Nyo De Jin Zagam Zoda
Good, and now I'm going to give you the oral transmission of this sadhana.
Dorje Drolo Chenle Gundrib Jigso, Namungur, Bama Hereka, Yander, Trubame Ganzaka, Jabsons, Mundan Rover Shini, Hornogen Nanta, Gunzan Yimdial, not Gunna Nyanji, Gunzan Yapiter, Zonju Chimchok, the Chin Chanchip Simmer, Namtak, Hong, Mugnum Kalasher, Gomtru Tony, Shini, Tserendi Bay, Watchin Shop, Dorje Drolo, Amar Mu, Jarak Chig, Shirni, Yansam Jet. Marman Rarwa, Marser, Namda, Zir, Ansig Damba, Tsimji, Ganrale, Kimtang Zorni, Gerson Tangchi, Rangapon Java, Chuji, Yansa, Tam, Cherry, Namchak, Dorjim, Kalajir, Chochong, Tochir, Jaw, Totem, Bev, Cherion, Namchak, Purwa, Dami, Zir, Holong Barwa, Mepon, Chunkurki, Onoshid of Gutso, Jimid, Jum Tarjak, Ramjig, Tagmo, Jima, Yangi, Tang. Javni Jakin, Dortup Surd, Jat, Jivi, Cherzog, Doma, Karmo, Tang, Jipi, Cherzog, Chukun, Chor, Nam, Wonga Cherzog, Vermig Lablabasor, Jagbu, Cherzog, Gomchang, Serer, Shi, Choktamangam, Chakburker, Dave Shots, Barda, Ramsak, Tang, Sa, Jackson Lami, Shunlam Jagod and Chu, Vargi Chalar, Girdev Jitruk. Yedum Tsogi Mutra Chatron To, Woka Chala, Nesum Kandroi, Dirton, Womer and Dumcho Gilala, Takur Desum, Trumi Tsonam, Orlonam Chigba, Chenler, Namji, Driver, Gunja Romney, Jiking, Kachi, Jimtra driving on the Sada, Dodne, Dodne Tamsu, Ishi, Nimeba, Dirton Lon, Chimbur Yanda, Songurionzo, Honda Dragba Ye, Noa Tamchi, Honga Zigzag. Jajak Tamchi Hunga Jarkate, Jantok Tamchi, Nyamnin Hunga Nga, Redon Zinjin may be Ngani, Da, Hon. Am Tartig Honam Hala Tam, Kornum Su, Ticker of the Su, Shirjak Chibirk, Xar Tag Tan, some Chawa Yi, Jinji Sholum Jibber Sha, Jinji Sholum Lanjisha, Samaya, Shakir Gerno, Luxus Zong, Sheriff Sajon, Sami Dianjan. Tanju Tonchin, Jibber Shavale, Redon Zamu, Nyangla, Ragnim Yang 밤미 덴스그 몰음 탑산베 상스 가시 늪깔람네 또 자파 사트르 지바 공트르기 춤즈트미 도버 기르산장 잡추 페리노트 니르카베 마암 부추바 캬오르샤 마오 도지 토머 사르지 춘도 톤네 탄조 멤버 쇼고 지 냠츠르더 메소 지반다강 거로 도르제 졸로티 드땅 땅츠 말리바 터버 немчумж 빠조 딱상 더 딱상 хуарпыгды туншкаб запас сахтер жолу дехшиг юндики жукур дебале лихтер нямбо зам канжу даи вкрва тонё пршяви шир перви танжур гпа мали банжомби титер чи мангалам рапшун чудым бахчахтарда дымби цен нерсымлаго
Well, that was the or transmission of the wrathful practice of Pamasambhava. So today I'm going to give you the literal meanings of this sadhana. In fact, it is the best if you receive the wrathful Pamasambhava empowerment and then receive this sadhana. But for people who have already finished your preliminary practices as well as received the empowerment, I think last year around August, I did give the practice of wrathful Pamasambhava sadhana, and then you can practice accordingly to that. But for those people who didn't finish the preliminary practices and no empowerment, then it is the best to just keep this sadhana. I think that's probably just the best way to work with this. Well, last class, I did talk briefly about the whole story of how this terma was reviewed and the causes and conditions, auspicious conditions that arose for this terma to be reviewed, and so on. In fact, in this dark age, the obstacles and chaos are like ocean waves, and the aggression and desire and ignorance of sentient beings are like floods. When it happens in people's mind stream, it is hard to stop them. So in such kind of condition, we really need some kind of practice that has lots of power and lots of strength. That's important. Therefore, the wrathful Pamasambhava Dorje Drolo, the enlightened form of Haruka, or the Dorje, the Vajra, that is indestructible. So this kind of practice is quite essential in this dark age. In fact, many masters do use this practice, adopt this practice in their daily life. Just like the first Dorje Rinpoche, when he chanted Hum, by relying such method of chanting Hum and practicing Dorje Drolo, he prolonged his life, unless how his uncle died because didn't practice such wrathful practices. Maybe you've encountered so many different obstacles at your work, in your life, even your health. This is the kind of obstacles that you may encounter in your daily life. But the other kind of obstacles that you may encounter is obstacles during the time of propagating the Dharma and spreading the Dharma and studying the Dharma. Therefore, we need to use such special method to study and practice the Dharma. So in the past, the Jigme Phuntsok Rinpoche, he had Dorje Drolo sadhana or terma, and at the same time, or around the similar time, Chogyam Trungpa Rinpoche also reviewed a terma that's very similar to this particular terma. Back in 1993, when I went to Shambhala, I saw so many Shambhalians were chanting triple homes and practicing Dorje Drolo sadhana. And at that time, I brought back a copy of Terma. At that time, when Trungpa Rinpoche reviewed the Terma, it was in Tibetan, and then he translated into English as well. And at the end of the English sentence, there was also a symbol of the Terma symbol, where it has two dots and one small dash in the middle. I think that's quite interesting. I give a teaching in Europe. One of his attendants, also a Westerner, he went to Toronto at that time and gave a teaching over there. And at that time, he said that when Trungpa Rinpoche departed from Taksan after revealing the Terma, Trungpa Rinpoche he pointed to a place and said that over here at this place, someone named Jigme Phuntsok Rinpoche would also review another Terma over here. And then the attendant maybe has already passed away or not, I'm not sure. But this is something that's heard by someone, and I've kept on asking for the genuine information of it, and it was confirmed again and again. So Trungpa Rinpoche passed away around the 80s, and Jigme Phuntsok Rinpoche went to India and went to Bhutan in 1990. At that time, I've read some of the text, the Terma text reviewed by Trungpa Rinpoche, and there are lots of similarities between this particular sadhana and the Trungpa Rinpoche's sadhana, where Trungpa Rinpoche's sadhana, in fact, included some of the different reincarnations of Karmapa, and the main deity even wears the black crown. So there are some differences, and it's very normal from different lineages, and the different visualizations could be very different. I think there are some changes within the Shambhalian community, but from around the end of last century, Shambhala community brought lots of auspicious connections to the west of Tibetan Buddhism to the west. In Nepal, Shatru Rinpoche, who lived over 100 years, and he actually practiced Dorje Drolo specifically. The practice of Dorje Drolo is the kind of practice that lots of practitioners and lots of great masters and Ngakpas or lay practitioners, they would keep different statues and different tankas and small paintings, and they would use such method. It is called zadle. It's almost like a square-shaped picture. So they would use such object to practice, and they would hide such pictures in their books and different places and supplicate to Dorje Drolo. I myself didn't really practice too much, but ever since I was little, I had lots of faith towards Dorje Drolo. At least, to say the least, is to have lots of devotion. And then later on, when I received the Dorje Drolo sadhana, I honestly didn't practice it daily, but at least after I received it and practiced it, I noticed my obstacles did decrease, and that's one of the reasons why I want to give this teaching, because Jigme Phuntsok Rinpoche, when he gave this teaching, his intention was to dispel obstacles, which is also stated at the back of this sadhana. especially the obstacles of propagating the Dharma, the obstacles of practitioners, of people who practice the Dharma. So I think this kind of wrathful practice is a kind of practice where it could help you during your life, or it could help you on the path of Dharma. But of course, sometimes when your obstacles are too great and based on a ripened karmic seed, then at that time maybe it's not that swift, because it's just as if you were to have a first-stage cancer and your cancer cell has already spread it, and there's really no medicine could cure you. Even the best medicine in the world. Then at that time, the doctor would just kind of hide it from you, and the relatives would try to hide it from you as well, and say, no, it's fine. You can just have some herbs and you'll be cured. That's what happens over here. Lots of the relatives and family members would say to the cancer patient that you should only just take some herbs and you'll be fine. Anyway, what I was talking about is what I was trying to say was that not all obstacles can be dispelled, just like there's no medicine that could cure all the sickness. But if there's any obstacles that happens in your life, the least that you could do is to have a peaceful mind and not to blame it onto the kind of practice that you do during your daily life. Don't think in the way like, why is it that I am still getting sick? Why is it that I still encounter obstacles? I've been practicing so hard. It must be the problem of the person who composed this sadhana. Anyhow, a good practitioner wouldn't do that. A good practitioner would recognize that this is really the cause and condition, the truth of karma. When the seed of karma has already ripened, there's no way to avoid it at this point. There are people who can live for only 40 years, and there are people who can only live for 40 years. But because of the technology, the advancement of medicine, they can probably prolong their life to 80 years, and that could happen. Similarly to the practice, maybe a person would have only practiced for a short period of time, but maybe because of the blessings of a special guru or special blessings of a sadhana, then their practice time would be prolonged. Now this cup is too red. It seems that every day I am picking something wrong from some faults from my cups, and let's see how many cups they can place over here. So with the blessings of Pamasambhava as well as the truthful words spoken by Pamasambhava, then everything in front of you and everything through the internet, people sitting in front of the internet, everything in front of you are all blessed. And this is a fake one as well. The time is really inaccurate. See?
这样子，所以下面我们开始介绍啊。
Okay, so let's get onto the sadhana, otherwise we will not have enough time. So the title is Great Haruka Dorje Drolo Daily Sadhana, accomplishing all activities of pacifying, enriching, magnetizing, and destroying. Now, homage, now Namo Guru Pama Harukaye. This is to make homage, to take homage or take prostration to the wrathful Pamasambhava. Now here individuals should engage in practice. In fact, over here, the practitioner it is referring to is the kind of practitioner who doesn't want to engage in too much intellectual studies or ceremonies and rituals. They have no such interest, and they're very simple. And through the blessings of Pamasambhava, they want to become a really good practitioner, and their mind is so strong, and once they're that strong, they can help all the sentient beings. So for this kind of person, then you can recite the refuge vow and then and then generate bodhicitta. So the refuge vow and the bodhicitta could be just could just be from any sadhana. You could recite the ones that I give earlier, and later on, at the beginning, you can recite the whole sadhana, and when it comes to the triple home section, you can keep on chanting it. So first of all, it says home. Home is the seed syllable or seed mantra of Pamasambhava. And home is also a sound to home and I is a sound to of calling. So it has some special meaning within it. And first, in the purity of the realm of all apparent phenomena and the whole of the existence of Samadhabhadri. And Samadhabhadri over here is the emptiness aspect. From the generation stage aspect is this is the samadhi of suchness. And over here, Samadhabhadri is the Mother Buddha. And then the all-pervasive luminosity mandala of great compassionate Samadhabhadra. In such kind of luminosity and great compassion, in this kind of mandala, that is also could also be called Samadhabhadra, because the nature of everything is empty, but it is not separated from luminosity. In many of the union description, they talk about the Buddha and the female Buddha in union, and this kind of union is different than how we would interpret a man and a woman. This is really a way to describe the emptiness and luminosity that is no other. So the union give birth to the Supreme Child, whose name is Great Bliss Bodhicitta. And over here, this is a samadhi of causality. This Great Bliss Bodhicitta then becomes black-brown colored letter Hom. So over here, Hom, it's better to visualize it in the Tibetan letter Hom. And that letter appears in the space. In visualization, some people can visualize in a step-by-step way, and some people could visualize right in a moment. In fact, in the
不同的这个观修方法啊。
In different tantras and in different classes with tantras, there are different ways of to do this kind of visualization as well. So the great bliss bodhicitta becomes this black-brown colored letter home, and then it appears in the space, and this letter home radiating light, and the light makes offering, and also giving to all the to the beings in 6 realms. After doing such 2 beneficial acts, the light retracts back. If you practice the if you can practice on the highest level, and then you can visualize yourself as Dorje Drolo. For some of you who are not really at this stage and are not able to visualize yourself as Dorje Drolo, then you can visualize it right in front of you. In Sutrayana, as well as in Kriyana or Outer Tantra, the way of visualization is to visualize the deity other than yourself, in fact, very different than yourself. And you would visualize the Pamasambhava in a very supreme way. And when Pamasambhava that's riding on the tigress, and he's right over there, he's so powerful, he can dispel all my obstacles, then you can visualize that way. And since many people could probably receive teaching on that level, then I would explain it through that way. So at that time, clearly appears the deity Pamasambhava, great Drolo.
这杯光尊者也是这样讲的嘛，就是说Chula Girchi, Lo Chula Girchi, Gurunchi, Lamkurum Brahmato, Gumkinchi, Anismeto, Jensen Lamarchi. 好像散文当中也就给大家提供了那个
I can only remember the Tibetan verses that I wanted to quote. What it means is that let the mind emerge with the Dharma. And Gurjin means Pamasambhava knows. So this is a way to supplicate to Pamasambhava, and supplicating that please help me not to get sidetracked on the path of Dharma. And great Guru, you are no different than Pamasambhava. So please grant your blessings. In Tibet, if the road is too slippery, if something suddenly happens, we also say Gurujin. Guru means guru, the lama or great teacher. Guru actually is Sanskrit. People usually call Pamasambhava Guru Rinpoche. In the West, people say Guru Rinpoche. Some say Guru Rinpoche. In French, I think French practitioners, they have lots of devotion towards Guru Rinpoche, as well as people from different places, including mainland China. In Tibet, many young people still have lots of faith towards Pamasambhava. I think this kind of devotion is extremely important, because without such devotion, then a tanka is no other than a painting. And without devotion, then a guru is, your teacher is no other than a person with flesh. There's nothing special about them. So devotion and faith, as well as auspicious connections, are extremely important. Over here, you visualize Guru Dorje Drolo. Dorje Drolo, the picture of it, I'm going to send or going to display a rather accurate photo. Do we have it?
我是这个，我讲的时候呢，可能大家以这个来，先不要出现我就是talking，最好吧，看这个
just look at this
照
picture.
片上呢，就是知道是那个
On this picture,
这个 tanka 吧，就
or
我照
this
了很
tanka.
多的这个
In fact, I looked
tanka 吧，
over
里面
many,
这个是跟
many
法王的
different
那个
pictures of
绣花
tankas.
呢，就是比较相
And
同的，
this one is
但是
very
这
much
个
similar
一直
to
这个保留着
the description
然后
of
工作人员然后那个我再讲一下，不然的话，昨天就是我也想真正解释的时候，那个
or the
都
terma
已经消失了，
reviewed
不在了，
by
就是所以
Ponce
倒
Rinpoche.
是就这个是莲花生大师，就是我们
This
现在
is
就是今天修的这个
Wrathful
格罗
Pamasambhava
就
Guru
是他的，
Dorje
那它是
Drolo.
什么样呢？就是红褐色的，
His color is
也算是
reddish
稍微
brown,
就是棕色的，就
a
这
bit
样的。当然这
brownish.
个多吉卓罗有不同的一些，每个衣柜和每
But
个
of
菩萨大
course,
师的说法不
every
大相同。
sadhana is
但这个是
different,
比较
and
跟法王
different
的
termas
这
are
个
different.
法有点相同。
So
它是
this
这
one
个
is a bit
一面
similar
二
to
谛，就是一面
the
是指的是
terma
法界就是一
reviewed
谛，
by
二谛的话呢，
by
双
Ponce
四
Rinpoche.
速谛的这个双运的意思。
He
然后正三目就是
is
它那
red
个
brownish
有
in
三
color
只眼
and
睛
with
啊，
one
这三只
face,
眼
two
睛呢
arms, and
分
three
别为
eyes.
就是
The
通
three
达就是
eyes
未来过去
are
现在的这种
the
意
three
思
eyes
啊，
that
有
could
些是
see the
对
past,
分路
present,
像也
and
好，对
future.
有些像那不理解，就是
In
世
fact,
间人
many
的话，
people
那
don't
为
really
什么有三
understand
种？我们不是有
why
两个眼睛吗？
the
为
wrathful
什么两个眼睛
deities
不是
look
更
so
漂亮吗？
different.
就是怎么会这样
Many
呢？
people would consider two eyes are
就
really
但
beautiful to
但是
look at,
实际
isn't
上
it?
呢，
Why
就
does he
是
have
这个
three
三个眼
eyes?
睛也很漂
So,
亮的。
in fact, the three eyes are also really beautiful.
然后这是那个，因为照见就是我们现在就是
Because the
虽然
three
有两
eyes
个
could
眼睛，但是
see
呢，
the
过去也见不到，
three
未来也
times,
见不到，
the
现在有
past,
时候也
present,
见不
and
到，就是这
future.
是眼
And
前
through
的一
our
块儿，
own
就是尤其是
only
人老
two
了以
eyes,
后，
we cannot
全是模
see
模糊糊的，就是越来越见不到的。
that
然后
much.
除了
Our
三只
vision
眼睛的
gets
话呢，
blurry,
应该是
especially
很
when
好
you
的，
age.
是
Don't
这
even
个照
mention
见
about
三
the
世
three
的三目。
times.
然后红黄的这种
And
这
then
个
his
须
red
发
yellowish
啊，就是头
hair
发也好，胡
and
须也好，还有
eyebrows
密毛，
and
就这些呢，就是往那个
beard
空中就是上面
all
就是竖
pierced
立起
into
来，
the
就是竖
sky.
起来。它这个也是这个就这也是标识呢，就是从
This
这个
is
轮
also
回当中呢，就是已经
signifies
得到这个清净，就是在
the
这个清净的这个无上的这个
attainment
法
of
当中的话呢，
purity
就是它也是一种表化，就是在
of
清净
samsara.
当中的话呢，就是也是表示一种这个清净吧，表示一
This is a
种
way
这
to
个无上，
signify
这样
purity
的意思。
and nothing
之后呢，
could surpass his
就
realization.
这个牙关静呀，就是这个它呢，因为是分
His
路相，
sharp
分路相
teeth
的话呢，那
clenching.
么就是獠牙闭路，就是这个应该这个
He
牙
has
关静
really
呀，
sharp
而且这样
teeth,
牙关静呀
and
的
it's
这个
clenching.
利齿呢，就是比喻成一种血色，
And the
就是
teeth,
非
the
常
sharp
洁白，
white
没有
teeth
任何的这个烦
are
恼和
just
所得
like
的
snow
污染的一种
mountains
血山。在这
that
个
is
血
not
山当中呢，
defiled,
就
it
是
doesn't
喷
have
出
any
什么呢？就是
defilement at
暴
all.
风啊，
And
就是暴
from
雨啊，就是
such
我们这个狂风暴雨，就是那种
such
就
mountain-like
是
teeth,
相当于是在
turbulent
它的
storms
这
and
个谷
rapid
中呢，
hills
就出现一些，有些当中说是骤雨，
appear,
有些当
and
中说是
then
相当于是一种暴雨，它是一种比喻。
some
就像我
say
们有时候
that
雪
storms
山呢，
and
就是让
hails
出现
are
这
a
个各种什么这个
metaphor
暴
of
风啊、暴雨
mantra,
啊，
or
就是会出
in
现这样的
fact,。
那么这
this
个
is
呢，
really
就是
a
让这
way
个对我
to
们这个修行人自身就是经常
to
制造损
describe
害的，就是
the
各种的鬼魅啊、冤
sharpness
魔啊、
and the
冤
kind of
冤魂呐，
energy
就
that
是
he
这
has
些啊，
to
就是它是一
subdue
些力魔啊，就是
grudging
世间当中
spirits
有许许
and
多多的。你
maras
看现在我们这个时
and
代当中，有些
harmful
是有这
demons
个
and so
附
on.
体的。就很多人有附体，不知道什么，好像那个藏地呢，就是附体的人很少的，就是
Many people
不知道我
nowadays
们这
they
个有些
encounter
有些
lots
地
of
方呢，
evil
就是
spirits
藏地
where
我
they
都
would
没有遇到
overtake
过
their
有附体的
body.
人，就是有些
In
精神不正
Tibet,
常的
I
人有，但是
don't
但
really
是
see
那个
many
附体
people
的人呢，
have
好像
such
很多可能
problems.
是人太多的原因呢，就是不知道
But
什么，就是
in
凡是有
mainland China
有各
nowadays,
种那个，
this
就
kind
有
of
些
things
听的，
happens very
我们
often.
有些认为是迷信，其实也不是迷信的。
Some
或
may
者里
say
面所
that
讲到的
this
有
sounds
些
very
非人啊、夜
superstitious,
叉，就是有些的
but
是
this is
一直就
not
是
really
掺在有些人的身上。
this is not
有些
a
呢，虽然没有
superstitious
经常，
belief.
但是呢，就是做
There are
噩梦的时候，
yakshas
它
and
就出
there
来了。
are
我们每个人有
evil
时候
spirits,
就有了。前
and
2年的时候，我做了一个噩梦，就是醒来以后呢，
people
有点害怕，就是
people
心脏
encounter
一直
them
在
in
跳动，
their
然后
nightmares
马
as
上
well.
就
And
是
a few
我
days
想了
ago,
一
I
下，
actually
去年
dreamt,
讲
I
那
actually
个
had a
什么
nightmare,
那个老司
and
机，我
when I
时候有
woke up,
几个佛
When I woke up, I was still scared, and I tried to remember some of the medicine Buddha's names and tried to chant it. And then I woke up and then I chanted the 8 bodhisattvas' names, and I'm sure at least one of them would work. So the evil spirits and orcs are they are all fettered by the 5 skandhas. So the previous ones, when we talk about turbulent storms and rapid hails, they are just a form of a hum. So through such energy of rapid storms and hails, all their fetters of 5 skandhas are banished into space. This kind of sentient beings, the sentient beings who are holding grudge and who are evil, through the power of Pamasambhava and Dorje Drolo, their fetters of 5 skandhas can be banished into space, and then they can attain enlightenment. In fact, over here it doesn't really talk about to kill and to harm the other sentient beings, unlike warfare that's happening around the world nowadays. In fact, over here it talks about Dorje Drolo used great compassion to unfetter them from 5 skandhas so that they can attain freedom. He's in his right hand raised to the sky, waving a vajra made of meteoric iron. So do you see that vajra? The vajra is golden colored. Maybe some of the meteoric iron are gold, but most of the time it's black. Anyhow, his right hand holds a vajra, and then through the vajra, emitting sparks of thunderbolts in the forms of innumerable wrathful deities, and those small sparks of thunderbolts lands onto the heads of enemy and subdue them. In his left hand, holding up a purba, also made of meteoric iron. This one, the hand holding a purba, it's holding it downwards, if you can see. There's another picture. Can you display it? Okay, so maybe this one, this is the way of holding a purba. Our the person who's controlling the computer is probably staying in Iraq, therefore it's not really syncing in real time. The purba is he's holding the purba up this way. So this is a proper mudra of holding the purba. And through this purba, emitting spinning fire sparks that burns fiercely and consumes the vicious maras into ashes. In fact, over here, the spinning fire sparks is what the celestial beings use to fight with the non-humans. So this is a type of weapon. And burn fiercely and consumes the vicious maras is to consume the afflictions. For people who studied the luminous the text on the great magical net, you probably understand that over here the vicious maras are symbols for the skandhas. After all of these vicious maras are subdued by Pamasambhava, their previous, some of them, their previous forms would change and then become protectors of the Dharma. And some of the protectors, they didn't really change the form or their habits. Some of the protectors who made vows to Pamasambhava to protect the Dharma, they still kept their habits of drinking and eating meat, or having different habits. Therefore, Pamasambhava gives special permission to them to maintain some of their habits as long as they don't or no longer harm sentient beings. Therefore, when we're making offerings to the protectors, we try to know what they prefer and what they don't.
有些高僧大德对他也有一些比较特殊的这个给予和满足，就是也有答应的。
When some of those vicious spirits are subdued by great masters, the great masters later on would also give them some special permissions or special gifts as long as they don't harm sentient beings, and those are also recorded in many different biographies. So he stands on a fierce pregnant tigress. This pregnant tigress is a transformation of a dakini. In fact, it's quite fearful to see a tigress, but this tigress has this pride and integrity in such a posture. And the way he stands on this pregnant tigress is with his legs extended in Haruka posture, one leg extended and one leg with one leg bent and one leg extended in the Haruka posture. Today, I think our class is going to be extended maybe 10 to 15 minutes, 10 or 15 minutes. I'd like to finish the class today, otherwise it's going to be postponed. And tomorrow we also have a class. So tomorrow's class is open to the public as well. The form of Dorje Drolo can be explained, and in fact there are more profound way and more deeper explanations of such symbols or such forms, but maybe we can get into it later if we have such opportunity. And Dorje Drolo wears a white undergarment. All the garments that he wears are ways of expressing the different activities. So he wears a white undergarment signifying the accomplishment of the pacifying activity. So pacifying activity is where you would practice and be able to pacify your sickness and obstacles and so on. So he wears a white undergarment, and he wears a monastic robe. Monastic robes are yellow and red, and this monastic robe, signifying the accomplishment of enriching activity, is to increase your fame and your wealth. So when you practice this, you'll be able to accumulate wealth, you would have increments of fame, and your names will be spreaded and so on. So all the obstacles will be dispelled, and you will be able to have the accomplishment of enriching activity that's blessed by Dorje Drolo. And then he wears a maroon cape, signifying the accomplishment of magnetizing activity. Magnetizing activities where you can receive whatever you like. If you like a car, if you like a house, if you like a person, then you can all use this magnetizing activity to magnetize them. So in this way, he wears a maroon cape. The Chinese version need to make a small change. He wears great necklace or wears this large belt on one side, and this great belt or necklace that's made of human heads, just like and he wears it just like how Milarepa wears it on halfway, just like how people carry their bags. Some old monks would wear their bags this way. I've seen them holding walking sticks, holding one walking stick on a hand and wearing their bags halfway across their body. So this adornment signifying, you can probably see the heads on the picture. And this kind of adornment signifies the accomplishment of destroying activity, and he appears in this outrageous form and full of wrath. As I said yesterday, there are people who can only be tamed by this wrathful form. Just as when I talk to some of the disciples and some of the people who are working over here, when I talk to them nicely, they don't really listen. And when I talk to them in a wrathful way, they would do what I request of them. Just like some of the great parents, they have lots of love towards their children, but sometimes the children don't listen. Then they have no choice but to beat them or scold them and so on. So this kind of wrathful form is quite necessary, both in practice as well as in your own life. Many times, with a peaceful way to talk to or to communicate with others may not work, and sometimes it doesn't work. When I just came back, I appeared wrathful to a few people, and it works really well.
有时候真正就是编程分录像，这样不太好，就是如果是个现象分录像，就这个很好的。有时候是自己真正身体产生性，就这个是不是现象，这个是编程分录像的，就是那是有的产生性趋势下的这种人呢，也是很不好。那么，然后年次的那个图钉的这个，这是这样的莲花生大师，然后他的那个图钉的上面呢，就是有莲花和月亮的这个层叠上面呢，有3串上师。
of lotuses and moon discs appears the gurus of 3 types of transmissions, the transmissions of giving the teachings, the transmissions of the Tathagatas, the transmissions of person and so on. And all of these 3 gurus are surrounded by rainbow light of blessings. I think the tanka, which depicts this sadhana, doesn't really. I don't think we have such a tanka. Therefore, it would probably be good to paint a tanka that is just for the sadhana. In the middle, a little bit lower than the top of his crown, there are the deities of 4 and 6 classes of Tantra, which the 4 classes of Tantra is Kriya Tantra, Charya Tantra, Yoga Tantra, and Anuttara Yoga Tantra. And the 6 classes of Tantra is the 3 outer classes of Tantra and 3 inner classes of Tantra. So there are the 2 ways of categorizing it, and all the deities that's described in the 4 and 6 classes of Tantras are all there. Just when we think about within Mahayoga, within Anu Yoga, within Kriya Tantra, there are so many different deities, and all the deities would gather together. Thick clouds gather around them, and showers the rain of city. So on the top there are the gurus of 3 types of transmission, and in the middle are all the deities of 4 and 6 classes of tantras. Because in Tibetan Buddhism, in different schools, we have different categorizations and different ways of making such differentiations, such as in Nyingma and Kagyu, where we would have the 6 classes of tantras through the lineage, and then the Gelupas, they have the 4 classes of tantras. Anyhow, all the deities of those would all gather together, and just like thick clouds are gathered and started showering the Amrita and the rain of cities. Then on the bottom, there are the dakinis of the 3 kinds. So what are the 3 kinds? The 3 kinds are the dakinis who are given birth by the enlightened parents, and the dakini whom are born in Pure Lands, just as Padmasambhava's Pure Lands, and so on, such kind of dakinis. And then another kind of dakini that manifests into the form of dakini. So over here, the 3 kinds of dakinis could also be seen as the Nirmanakaya, Sambhogakaya, as well as Dharmakaya. In Larangar, in fact, in the female residence area, we also have 3 different ways of, or 3 different parts within the female residence, where we have the Nirmanakaya section, the Sambhogakaya section, and then the Dharmakaya section. In the afternoon, I was talking to the Kunmos over here. I told them that all of you are enlightened dakinis. Of course, I was kidding, but over here, all of our female practitioners are considered to be the dakinis of Nirmanakaya, of Dharmakaya, of Sambhogakaya. So the dakinis of 3 kinds radiating and sometimes retracting the dazzling red light of bliss, emptiness. And then surrounded around Dorje Drolo are the Dharmapalas of 3 categories. Over here, the 3 categories are categories of mind category, the space category, and the pith instruction category. And all the Dharmapalas are gathered as black, ghastly wind, because the actions of all the Dharmapalas are very swift. Also, the way they accomplish their activities are very swift as well. So all the Dharmapalas are just like the black ghastly wind that would swiftly accomplish all the four activities, the four activities of pacifying, enriching, magnetizing, and destroying. So in the previous ones, we've already see the description of the wrathful form of Pamasambhava, and we saw what's surrounding him, the gurus, the protectors, the dakinis, and all these kind of backgrounds. At that time, when I was listening to it, I thought to myself, wow, these words are has so much power, so much blessings. In such a short period of time, it just gushes out of Jigme Pomsa Rinpoche's wisdom. Especially afterwards, when I got time to read over it, I thought to myself, there's such profound meanings behind all these words. So within, let's move on. Within the equanimity of one taste, one wisdom nature, illusory web of appearance arises, manifests and extend the whole of space. So over here, it talks about the nature of all of the things that we read, all the descriptions that we read. Those are really no other. They are of one taste and one wisdom nature, but in front of all the sentient beings, all the mundane beings like us, it appears and manifests and extends the whole of space. Therefore, as long as we remember, as long as we supplicate to Dorje Drolo with such kind of extensive manifestation, you will definitely be able to receive the blessings of Guru Rinpoche. Just like when just like nowadays we have signals and receptions. When you have a cell phone and you have signal, then you'll be able to receive phone calls. But when you have cell phone, but when your cell phone is broken and there's no signal or receptions around, then you won't be able to receive the phone calls at all. So it is quite important to establish such connections to Pamasambhava. This is to receive the reception from Pamasambhava. Our wisdom, in fact, is quite limited. If you question whether if this is possible at all for Pamasambhava to be so to be everywhere within this appearance, then you should really read lots of the biographies of Pamasambhava. You see how many miraculous things and activities that's done by Pamasambhava. You should know that our mundane wisdom is very limited, therefore we cannot measure the depth of Pamasambhava's activity by our very limited wisdom. So you should spend 8 or 10 years and decades of time in studying and research and study. Even if you don't have faith, after a period of time studying with the masters, maybe something in your mind stream will be changed. It really takes lots of diligence and lots of effort. It's not that simple. For people who cherish truth, I think you would be able to understand that the truth of Vajrayana would not disappear in this world that easily. So let's continue the Samaya Sattva and Jnana Sattva. The Samaya Sattva is the Sattva that we visualize, and Jnana Sattva is the wisdom Sattva, the wisdom deity. So these two are not two in nature, but its bliss, emptiness, manifestation adorns the phenomenal world. Pamasambhava, the Samaya Sattva, and your own wisdom deity is no other. But in front of people who have faith, it appears as Pamasambhava in form in front of them or for them, just as how rainbows would appear in space. The rainbow itself doesn't have a solid existence, but it appears. So Pamasambhava would appear in such a way that would adorn this world. Therefore, as I said yesterday, to make supplication and to have faith, then you'll be able to receive the blessings. I encourage you to wear some kind of pictures of Pamasambhava. I really don't like people wearing my picture. I think it's important to wear the picture of Pamasambhava. I think, yes, it's important to wear the picture of a person who benefited you. But what's the difference between how young people, how university students wear celebrities' picture? But I think if you really have to wear a picture, it's probably the best to wear the picture of Pamasambhava or a picture of a Buddha. I made some of those ornaments before, some of those lockets before. On one side it has Pamasambhava, the other one has the picture of the Buddha. Many people who practice in different schools may not consider that Pamasambhava has the same contribution to Buddhism as the Buddha did. But without Pamasambhava, how could the Dharma be spreaded till this day? So this is quite important to remember as well. I know, and I saw people wearing a belt of lockets that has pictures of their gurus, just like how Dorje Drolo wears human heads as ornaments. So I'm not so sure if the necklace of your guru's head would be as beneficial as Guru Rinpoche. Some teachers, some gurus may have really nice looking pictures, and students will be very happy to wear it. And whenever they have afflictions, they can secretly look at the very nice smiling guru. But I don't know if that works. The sound of hum uttered by Dorje Drolo and his retinues. Whatever you see is the form of hum. Whatever you hear is the sound of hum. Whatever you think is the nature of hum. And everything is non-dual. In the state of no hope and no fear, without any reference point, you continue to chant hum, hum, hum. So now, since I've given you this sadhana to practice, I hope at least you finish 10,000 to 100,000 times of the triple hum. I know lots of our Sangha members who are already heavily indebted in terms of their mantra recitations. Of course, I'm not trying to add this onto your already existing debt of mantras, but I think it's quite important to chant this homes. In Mipa Rinpoche's, in sadhanas composed by Mipa Rinpoche, there's another one that's specifically for chanting home. So to finish chanting 10,000 and 100,000, okay, fine. Even if you can't finish it 10,000 and 100 times, is okay as well. I'll give you a bargain. So after chanting home, 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 at the end, the home dissolving into the deity Dorje Drolo, all the retinues dissolve into the heart of Dorje Drolo, and the only wisdom body of empty luminosity is Dorje Drolo. That wisdom body is your own mind. Seeing him with luminosity, clarity, and stability after this practice and carry on in daily activities with such realization. So all the daily activities that you carry on into your life is the homes. In such kind of realization is full of luminosity, vividness, clarity, and it's very stable. If you can practice in such kind of realization and could maintain such kind of realization, then you're a very good practitioner. So that's why this time I give this profound teaching. Usually it's concealed in secret, therefore it says samaya, to keep in secret. That's what it means. That's what it means. So samaya, keep the secret. Over here at the end, there's a part that describes it's a description said by Jigme Ponce Rinpoche. It says that I, Shakya, the Shakya Bhikshu, Dikshit Sampo, that's the Dharma name of Jigme Ponce Rinpoche, adorned with pure wisdom and discipline, and that is taught by Sutrayana teachings. I wished to use such kind of pure wisdom and discipline to benefit all sentient beings, and only wish to propagate the Dharma in such a way. Therefore, try to conceal such profound instructions deep in my mind only. However, when I reached to this place, that is the taksang, I couldn't help but spoke these words out due to the power of the true words of Pamasambhava and my own past aspirations. Sometimes the vivid image of how Ponce Rinpoche remembers those and recited and chanted, and those verses would vividly appear in front of my eyes. On one hand, it's because of his own strong aspiration, and on the other hand is his strong connection to Pamasambhava. So at that time, he couldn't help but spoke this sadhana, that is the body mandala practice of Dorje Drolo. This is really important to keep it to your heart, to pay lots of attention, because if you don't pay lots of attention to it, then it doesn't really make any benefits to you. And then Ponce Rinpoche over here says that he has already accomplished as the Dharma Raja, the Dharma holder of deep earth terma and expansive mind terma. Earth terma over here means the terma that's discovered within lakes, ocean, mountain caves, and so on, and then transcribed into words. And then the other kind of terma is called mind terma. This particular sadhana could be called an earth terma as well as mind terma, because he made an offering of a kata to a cave at that time, and on the other hand, the verses just suddenly appear in his mind. What's in there?
南方说，我虽然已经成就地府长，
So he
意思
said
就
that
是说他是真正的一个
I
府
have
长，
already
这方面大
accomplished
家也
as a
参加很多
Dharmaraja
府长
of
有些
deep
人可能
earth
容易这个
terma
受
and
骗了，
expansive
就是
mind
去
terma.
佛藏寺有些架不
Well,
藏寺，
I
原来
think
南
it's
华
quite
大寺
important
的
to mention
书
over
记里面
here.
也架佛藏
In
架佛藏
fact,
寺呢，就像地上的
being
蘑
a
菇一样，
turtle,
就是非
being a
常多。
person who's
所以现在
capable
也是
to
这个此起彼伏，
review
这个
treasure
方面
is very
要
rare.
注意，就
But
是
nowadays
就
there's
真
so
佛藏寺
many
也是有，但是架佛
fakes,
藏寺呢也会有的，
fake
所以
turtles
我们现在有时候呢
nowadays,
也
and
可能
it
就
is
比较
also
那个就遇
prophesied
到各
that
种情况
by
吧。
Pamasambhava, the time
虽
said
然它
that
是这个成了
many
这个府
fake
藏的地府
turtles
藏
will
和义府
would
的
be
这个府藏
everywhere
方面
in
的
the
话呢，
dark age.
其实我以前想准
So
备讲过
mind
一点，但
terma,
是呢一直没有时间。就科罗拉多大学和还有
in
好像是在
in
耶路
fact,
撒冷那个学校里面叫什么？那个叫那个学
I
校里面
talked
讲了
quite a
一点
bit
府藏
about
府藏方面的
terma
发耀。如果你们
in
想
Colorado
初步的大概的
University
想了
as
解的
well
话呢，
as
我也就
Jerusalem
讲过一些。
University.
那么其实
I
府
think
藏有时
I
候是还是很
I
奇
talked
妙的，
about
就是
it
府藏法的这个
in those
西
two
方有很多人
universities.
研究这个府藏
Terma
是很有
is
意思的。
quite wondrous,
那么
and
方老师说，
lots of
虽然成为
Westerners
这样的府
do
藏大师，
study
但
the
是呢，
terma. It's quite
就
interesting.
确实方老师
Anyhow,
有府藏大师，就是他那
Ponto
个
Rinpoche
有
as the
个那个金
Dharmaraja
刚
as
卷
the
嘛，就是那个金
turtle.
刚卷的话呢，一直是
Ponto
在
Rinpoche
这
wears
个要
a
见的，就是
perba
一直是。当然
around his
这个
waist
都是
all
谁
the
都能
time.
做得到的，就是
Of
但
course,
是
you
呢，
can
实
wear
际
it
上是
as
方往
well,
那个里
but
面的意义呢，就完
the
全是不相
perba
同的。就
that
是这个里面我也
were
有一些
by
事情讲，
Ponto
那一会再
Rinpoche
说
is
吧。
completely different.
时间
Okay, we ran out of
那
time,
么
so I can't really
但是现在这个时代
talk
呢，
too
很难以
extensive
找到
about
这
that.
个弘
Anyhow,
弘
we'll
这个
continue.
弘扬这
So
个这样的
still,
僧僧法的
I
发起的
shall,
缘故呢，
as the
暂时
Dharmaraja,
呢
as
就
the turtle, I
是
shall
舍
abstain
弃，
from
就是
any more
随意而
words,
这个说的
as
这
it
个
is
很
hard
多的
to
语言
find
的细论
worthy
啊，就是如果
vessels
如
to
果是真
receive
正要
such
去开
profound
开
Dharma.
佛藏啊，还有就写一些道歌啊，就净法类，就是清净的这种。这个境界当中显现出来的叫净法类，就是净法类的那些佛藏法。如果
If
说的话呢，
he
特别
could
多的，但方往
speak
说，
out more,
就
in
这
fact,
些
a
魔
lot
法
of
时代的众生呢，不一定能真正
terma
地记
appears
住，
in
很多人
his
呢没有信心，
pure
有邪见
vision.
就特别重，所以呢，
But at this time,
但是他
Ponto
放弃
Rinpoche
了那
said
个
that
随
because
意
it
这
is hard
个
to find a
多言的
worthy,
这种
a
戏论，他
worthy
就随意就是
to find
造很
worthy
多论的这
vessels
种
to
戏论，
receive
所
such
以
profound dharmas.
就这个地
Therefore,
方呢，
it
就
is
是
better
把
for
这个
him
方
to
往他自己
abstain
的状
from
况就是
more
降了一
frivolous
下，他
words.
就希望祈愿呢，就是
So
他的
he
这个
only
后来的一
aspires
世，
in
就
the
是叫
future,
多杰托梅
his
赞，就是多
next
杰托梅。多
reincarnation.
杰托梅赞呢，就
One
是
named
那
Dorje
个好
Drolo
像那个十人金刚军队来到这个世间，
Dorje
就是然后摧毁这个
Drolo
某种弘扬再次弘扬密法的时候呢，
is
是当时里面的一
the
个大乘，就是叫做多杰托梅赞，还有一个叫
is
雷吉多杰，就是也有不同的这个。
Dorje Tome is the one who's going to lead the army of Shambhala during the Dark Age. So Dorje Tome is the next reincarnation of Jigme Pontsok Rinpoche.
他去那个佛藏的地方吧。后来我们才知道，哦，可能原来是在这里这个去的，但实际上
At the time, Pontsok Rinpoche,
文字上显现的。但
at
实
that
际上
time,
呢，
Pontsok
他也
Rinpoche
可能
offered a
一直在
kata
这
at
个
the
地方
cave.
就
We didn't
结
know
合起
why
来
until
就不知道
later
吧。
we realized maybe the
那么这是那
terma
个
was
就是整个这个经过是
reviewed
这样
over
的。
there.
就
But
这
on the other
这个
hand, it
此文呢，
reviewed
就是
in
是
his
年
mind
是愤怒
stream.
啊，
Therefore,
就
it
是
also seems
愤
like a
怒呢
mind
是多
terma.
杰多罗呢，就无语
So
的相互这个沐浴元末这个圣地。其实原
This
来
is
巴图
written
大
at
方
the
是一个
time of
非人
arriving
和这个
Parotaksang,
贵妇所
Bhutan.
居住的地方，哪里有
Parotaksang
很多
used
的
to
恶
be a
魔。
place
现在也
where
是当时也是
where
相互的好多地
resided
方，
by
你
lots
们
of
就会
evil
去
spirits and
去那
orcs.
个去巴
But
图
now
大
this
萨
is the
呼吸
time.
在那
Now,
个地方的话呢，
at
有
that
很多
time,
当时呢是
that's
显现
where
各种各样的
wrathful
这个神通
Pamasambhava
的，就是有很多，
subjugated
而且有很多
all
的
the
故
evil
事。
spirits and
今
orcs.
天呢，就是我
Many
就不讲
stories
不讲
were
故事，就是本来我那个时候去的
recorded
聊这个故事呢，
around
比较
that
比较多一点。我
place.
那天写那个蒙正会了的，要不要这
I
些故
remember
事写出
many
来？
stories,
这些
and I
故
was
事太多了的话呢，
considering
那
to
我想因为
write
和
them
不丹的故
down.
事那么多，就
But I
没有什么
decided
意义
not
了，
to
就后来
write
就
it
几
down
乎故事没有
because
写。其实
there
哪
are
里有
so
很多
many
的非常这个奇
stories.
妙的一些故事吧。 那么这个地方呢，就是我们
So
当地叫做是八座大藏，
at that time, the
八座大藏
Parotaxon,
山洞，现在工程为
the
止叫
cave of
护穴，
Parotaxon,
往往来到
the
这里的时
tiger's
候呢，
lair,
就是因为深圳的地府藏那个G3是指多杰卓罗的光修法，刚才讲的不是有
with supplication of Dakinis, that this particular text, the concise practice of of body mandala, out of the profound earth terma, that is extensive practice of excellent Drolo, is reviewed. It's only a 1 volume out of 9 volumes of extensive practice of excellent Drolo. There are really extensive Dorje Drolo practices. It's a really thick volume. At the time when I just got ordained, I attended this Dharma assembly where people practiced Dharma Drolo for a very long period of time. The practice is really extensive, and I didn't really know how to chant it, and didn't really know how to use all the bells and dorjes and so on. So this sadhana is written down in words for the benefit of all beings. May it be the cause that dispel all obstacles of Dharma propagation and be cause of benefiting sentient beings. In fact, Padmasambhava's image or form transformed into Dorje Drolo's form. So use any kind of pictures of Padmasambhava, because Padmasambhava has 8 manifestations. Some people may like the peaceful form, and some people may like the wrathful form. Just like the example I gave earlier, there are people who like the picture of a celebrity which has a big smile on it, and some people really like the rather heartbroken, saddened expression of the celebrity, and some people may like pictures of their guru which are smiling, and some people may like the picture of the guru which is wrathful, so that whenever they look at the picture of the guru, they would feel fearful and don't want to slack off anymore. My only wish for you is not to change your practice. You should stay very stable and pick one practice that you would maintain for the whole life. This is quite necessary. As I said last year, I practiced wrathful Padmasambhava. In fact, if you could do that annually, it is good for yourself, good for the community, and good for everyone. This is very beneficial. And the reason of teaching it and reason of practicing it has very unusual auspicious connections, the inner, outer, and secret connections. So Maglam, 17th Supreme Birth of Rabjun, and in the year of Iron Horse year, 1990, 7th month, day 23, which is September 12th on the Gregorian calendar. At that time, we left Larungar around July 14th, and we were at Taxon in September on the 12th and 13th. We went out on the tour for 6 months, and I was writing it down. I think for people who want to go on pilgrimage, it's fine, but it is difficult for you to stay overnight in the cave, because it's not really allowed, and we had a special permission. If you can't really do it, at least you can stay in the hotels at the foot of the mountain. This is my suggestion to you. Okay, so we finished this.